What up, dorks?
You don't want any part of this.
Start the show.
So Peter is finishing up his school year and celebrating by going to Europe with the science club. He plans on telling that weird girl MJ that he likes her, but Ned thinks that they should enjoy being single while they're out of the country.
I may not know much, but I do know this. Europeans love Americans.
Before he goes, he has to help Aunt Mae with a fundraiser for people who ended up homeless after they got snapped back after 5 years. And Happy shows up with a check from Stark Industries and tells Peter that McFlurry wants to talk to him.
Nick Fury's gonna call me?
But he won't say why. And when he calls, Peter sends him to voicemail. He keeps calling, but Peter keeps ignoring him because he just wants to enjoy his vacation and even makes a point of leaving his suit at home.
The important thing is, you're here.
On the plane, he sees that this other guy Brad is hitting on MJ and asks Ned to ask Betty to switch Peter's seats, but Mr. Harrington overhears his lie about Peter having an allergy and freaks out, making a bunch of seat swaps that make no sense. So now Peter has to sit with him, Ned is sitting with Betty, and MJ's with Brad.
This was a tragedy, but it's not why we're here.
Is this a Spider-Man story or is it some high school love crap?
Both. So when they get to Venice, Peter tells Ned that he saw MJ and Brad smiling and laughing the whole flight, and he's worried that she might like him now.
Oh, Brad.
But Ned says that's crazy. Nothing can happen that fast. And then Betty comes up, and it turns out they're a couple now.
What?
Yeah, they touched hands by accident on the flight, so by storytelling law, they have to be together now.
Fate wills it so.
But as they're sightseeing, Peter makes no attempt to talk to MJ. He just creepily watches her and Brad continue to have fun from a distance.
Probably stop staring before it gets creepy though.
Too late.
But he still wants to go forward with his plan of buying her a necklace with her favorite flower made of glass.
Her favorite flower is the Black Dahlia because of, well,
The murder.
the murder.
Seriously, is there any Spider-Man in this?
Hold on, we're getting to it. So Peter bumps into MJ right as the canal starts to have some weird activity in it. But then a giant water guy pops up and starts smashing buildings. So Peter tells Ned to get the girls out of there because he doesn't have his suit and they might see him. Plus, they might get hurt. So he tries to get some people off a bridge, and then the water guy starts getting blasted by some green energy blasts, and they're coming from this flying guy with a fishbowl on his head. Peter wants to help, so he puts on a Mardi Gras mask and tries to talk to the dude mid-fight with a giant monster.
Right!
And of course, we know that there's no way that can go wrong. The plan is that the fishbowl guy is going to lure the water dude away from the canal, and Peter's going to be damage control. He's basically going to keep the buildings from falling.
Good job.
But I hope Venice has some quick construction crews, because
That's gonna dissolve in 2 hours.
So fishbowl guy magics the water dude away, and then sticks around for some applause.
So Peter really didn't do anything.
I mean, that may be, but what's important is the threat is neutralized, and he didn't break MJ's necklace. So he calls Aunt Mae to let her know he's okay, and Happy's there having lunch with her, which he thinks is weird. But she's just happy that she packed his suit for him, and that's how his plan with MJ's going. So he talks to Ned about the next step of the plan, but Ned gets knocked out with a dart by McFlurry. Funny how Happy didn't mention that he was still looking for him. But they go on a field trip where he gives Peter some sunglasses, then they go meet with Maria Hill, their team, and the fishbowl guy, whose real name is Quentin Beck. Apparently, he's from a different timeline, where elementals like the water guy destroyed his world, and now he's trying to save theirs.
He's a real American hero.
McFlurry and Maria found Beck fighting the Earth Elemental in Mexico, and they know of one more popping up in Prague in 2 days. Well, Peter has a decent excuse on why he can't go with them.
And if I'm seen like this in Europe after the Washington Monument, my whole class will figure out who I am, and then the whole world will figure out who I am.
But was literally just out in public in a tourist town in costume.
Thanks for bringing this to my attention.
The next morning, Peter finds out that their class trip now includes Prague, but now they're traveling by bus with McFlurry's man Dimitri as their driver.
I think Nick Fury just hijacked our summer vacation.
Sometime during the drive, Peter remembers the sunglasses that Tony left for him in his will and decides to try them on. They're programmed with an AI named Edith and control a bunch of Stark tech. They then pull over for a potty break, and Dimitri tells Peter to go into a bar.
I'm not 21.
In the bar, some woman wants him to get naked
Take off your clothes.
and try on some clothes she made for him. Brad walks in and takes a picture with him without his pants on and plans on showing MJ.
Why do you think it's cool to take pictures of people in the bathroom?
So Peter uses Edith to try to delete the picture, but accidentally launches a drone strike to delete Brad. He has to almost crash the bus in order to keep Brad alive, and somehow manages to distract the entire bus to look at some goats seconds after they almost drove off a cliff, so he can jump out of a sunroof and take out a military-grade drone. But he does also manage to get the photo deleted before Brad can show MJ.
You'll have all summer to kill Brad.
So twice he's been able to distract an entire bus full of people to not see him do Spider-Man crap right in front of him?
Yes.
Can I be completely honest with you? They look really stupid.
So they get to Prague, and Peter meets up with McFlurry to go over the plan. He's worried about his friends getting caught up in the fight, and McFlurry yells at him for using Edith on the bus, even though he didn't get an instruction manual, and every other thing Tony's ever gave him had safety protocols in place.
Just him treating me like a kid all the time.
Beck tracks him down for a mentor moment, and lets him know it's okay that he doesn't want to save the world, and that it's totally normal that he doesn't want his friends to die.
Sup, dickwad?
So Peter asks Edith for a plan, and she sends Peter's class to the opera, so they'll be inside during the attack, assuming it shows up on time. But MJ wants to sit with him, and now he's super upset he needs to go save the world, especially after she told him he looked pretty. But when the opera starts, MJ ditches to go to the carnival, and Ned and Betty follow. And of course, the monster shows up right as Ned and Betty get on the Ferris wheel, and are now trapped. Since he has a new suit, Betty believes that this is a different superhero known as Night Monkey, and she calls for him to save him instead of letting him fight the giant lava monster. But it gets bigger as it absorbs metal, so naturally, it's going after the Ferris wheel. But when Night Monkey tries to attach a web, it sticks to the air and pulls off something that lands in front of MJ.
So McFlurry is fine with him using some crappy suit that some lady made in a day, and not the Stark suit that can go into space to save the world.
Well, to be fair, that's not the suit that Aunt Mae packed, but I would like to point out right now that Peter used Edith to order opera tickets for his class, but not to devise a plan against a fire elemental hell-bent on destroying the Earth.
No, that would have been really inappropriate.
But then the lava monster gets knocked into some scaffolding and gets bigger, so everyone thinks it's too late, but Beck gets super glowy and dives into the thing's chest and blows it up. And somehow Beck is totally fine.
See, now that's some bullshit.
McFlurry comes over and is all, Beck, you're just what we need right now. Will you come to this super important meeting with me tomorrow? And Peter, you need to get your shit together.
Ouch.
Beck then invites him out for a drink and a therapy session. He tells Beck that he just wants to be a kid and how much he likes MJ, but he can't do what he wants because he has too much responsibility. And then someone finds the glasses that can kill people from space on the floor.
They were just on the floor?
Well, Peter realizes that Quentin isn't the type of guy that would lose sunglasses, so he authorizes Beck as a user for Edith and gives him the glasses. And after Peter leaves to go find MJ, we find out that the whole bar was just a projection.
You didn't check the website?
See, Quentin was the guy who built the holographic system that Tony used in Civil War, and he was mad that Tony named it Barf, so he wants revenge. And he ended up recruiting other people that worked for Tony, but didn't like him, like the guy who built the Ironmonger suit for Obadiah. They were tired of having ideas that no one listened to because they're poor and aren't superheroes, so they invented a superhero that will fight fake monsters to win the world over, and then they can make the changes that they want.
But what would happen if something bad actually shows up?
I guess that's why he wanted Edith.
Oh, so McFlurry saying how awesome Beck is and inviting him to the meeting and then telling Peter that he sucks was just an illusion?
No. Well, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it would make sense, but I'm pretty sure they were really there. I think.
Well, he could have sent him to Prague without the crappy suit. What was Peter gonna do then? Just let everybody die?
Look, when you can do the things that I can, but you don't, and then the bad things happen, they happen because of you.
Well, he can't stop him from using Edith.
Well, he can't use Edith on top of his suit since his eyes are covered. So providing him with an alternate suit definitely works in Beck's favor.
See, that wasn't so hard.
So somehow Peter ends up in this fight without any Stark tech that would have been able to see through those illusions, and we're supposed to think it's a coincidence. Hill and McFlurry were illusions.
Okay, I'm pretty sure you're wrong, but I'm not sure how.
Are you sure no one else has figured it out?
So Peter gets back to his hotel, only to find out that they're going home in the morning. He's not ready to go because of his plan with MJ, so he invites her to sneak out with him. But before he goes, he learns that Ned is really good at coming up with names that stick.
Mysterio.
Night Monkey. Mysterio, a Night Monkey.
But when they go for a walk, he tells MJ that he has something to tell her, and she guesses that he wants to tell her that he's Spider-Man. When he denies it,
I'm not Spider-Man.
she shows him this thing that she found covered in his webs.
Maybe he's a spider monkey, who knows?
But somehow, she turns it on, and a holograph appears and scares the shit out of him.
What the hell was that?
But they hit it again, and this time they see Mysterio fighting another elemental. This is actually footage of his upcoming fight that he plans on staging in London.
Because everybody blows up London.
That's right.
London is a beautiful city and it will suffer, but they can rebuild.
He plans on destroying most of the city because he needs an Avengers-level threat if the world's going to see him as the next Iron Man. But Beck notices a flaw in the projection and uses Edith to find out that MJ took the projector, and Peter knows about it. So he has a baby fit and threatens everybody that works for him.
So they traded working for a jerk that never gave them any credit, working for a jerk that wants to kill them?
Pretty much.
Said I was unstable.
So now that Peter knows that they're in danger, he tells her the truth.
I am Spider-Man, and I've really messed up.
He plans on going to Berlin to tell McFlurry what's going on, but stupidly goes in the Night Monkey suit instead of the Spider-Man suit because who really cares if he's seen in Berlin?
Call Mr. Harrington and say that she wanted me to stay with family in Berlin until this all blows over, okay?
Got it.
So I'm a little curious on why the Karen AI was able to access police records and identify criminals, but the even more dangerous Edith program can't identify fired Stark employees that were heads of large projects.
I'd like to transfer your control over to Quentin Beck. He's a bad guy. Right, of course. Yeah, my bad, silly.
So Peter goes to Berlin to meet with McFlurry to figure out the next steps, but Beck intercepts them. McFlurry gets shot as the illusion crumbles, and a drone shoots Peter at point blank range, and after falling a few stories into some concrete, he's fine. Beck then uses the illusion tech to make Peter hallucinate and beat himself up, and you have to give it up to the animators for coming up with very personalized graphics in such a short time. Too bad it's all interrupted by McFlurry shooting Beck. He asks Peter who else knows about Beck being evil, and he tells him about Ned and MJ, but this was just another illusion, and Beck goes back to torturing Peter and lets him get hit by a train. Luckily, he finds a completely empty car to take a nap in, but unfortunately wakes up in jail.
Oh, Peter, you're not dead.
But the guard is on the phone in the other room, so he just breaks the lock and leaves.
Very dangerous.
Don't they take pictures of people when they arrest them?
Well, a mugshot is pretty standard with an arrest, but it probably would be pretty hard to take since he was unconscious. So there's a chance that they would only have a description of who the Night Monkey is after his escape.
Not the monkey!
No, wait, I didn't! Oh, man.
He calls Happy for a ride, who fucks up someone's flower garden to get him. Peter then uses the fact that Flash is a douchebag who documents his entire life on social media to find out that his class is in London. But Peter needs a suit since the Night Monkey suit's at the jail, but it just so happens that the jet has a suit building machine back in Coach.
You're not Iron Man. You're never gonna be Iron Man.
Aw, thanks.
In London, the class gets a tour bus provided by the tour company that the teachers canceled the rest of the trip with because they kept getting put in danger.
Couldn't bear to lose a student on a school trip. Not again.
But Beck is behind them being in town and is putting the bus right in the middle of his next battle.
Now all your friends have to die.
So he started an EMP to get Maria and McFlurry to notice and to call him to make it less obvious that he was behind it, but he plans on having them killed by a drone during the chaos, so I'm not really sure why that was necessary. But he does find out that he won't be receiving any backup from the Avengers, so they're clear to start the attack. It looks like it's gonna storm, but when Mr. Harrington goes downstairs to talk to the driver, he's gone. So he tells the class to run for it, and then the monster shows up and takes out the bus first thing.
So he was gonna kill a bus full of kids because 2 of them knew he was a bad guy?
Yep. Which doesn't make any sense because he had drone strikes out on Ned and MJ, and also Betty, just in case Ned told her. Because even though Peter told Ned,
Don't tell anyone about this, okay? Anyone who knows is in danger.
he still thinks he might have been stupid enough.
Maybe Ned told his girlfriend Betty, but that's it!
And when they see Mysterio, they make the connection that he knows that they know, and they run to hide while the rest of the class just watch the fight. Happy flies Peter over the storm so he can parachute down and try to take out some of the drones, and then Happy's gonna go save his friends. So Spider-Man is connecting all the drones to a taser web that he'll use to take them all down. But jumping on them causes Beck to notice that they're breaking formation, and not the tech running the simulation. He uses a camera to see Spider-Man inside the illusion, and is surprised he's alive, because he decided he was going to use Edith to find out who Ned was dating, but not if Peter Parker was still alive. So the taser web thing works, and the illusion is falling apart, so Beck cancels the attack, but somehow still thinks he can pull off a hero story.
Yes, Janice. I still need a cape.
But McFlurry saw through his crap and ruined his assassination, because even though they had hundreds of drones, they decided to kill McFlurry and Hill one at a time.
What was his plan if the drones took out Hill first?
I have contingencies.
And Happy's gotten to his friends, but the jet blows up, and now they have to hide. But Beck programs all the drones to kill Spider-Man, and then he's going to manually fly a drone to kill the children himself. Happy leads them to the Tower of London, where they try to make it to the vault, but get shot at before they get there. So they have to hide. MJ hits it with a mace, and Happy tries to pull a Captain America, but fails miserably. But they do make it behind the 8-inch steel vault doors. But of course, the drone has a frickin' laser on its head and starts cutting through the door. The other drones start pulling out more tricks to try to kill Spider-Man, and after he falls in the water, Beck again, not confirming his death, tells his team to relaunch the monster attack. And after fighting all those drones, Spider-Man's out of webs, so he decides that if he can't be the next Iron Man, he'll be the next Captain America. and does a much better job than Happy did.
How does Cat do that?
So he makes a bomb to take out the guard drones, then uses a broken drone's pulse cannon to jump into the bridge that Quentin's on and punch him in the face so the drone trying to kill his friends won't be controlled anymore. But Beck puts Spider-Man back in an illusion, and he needs to use his instincts to take out the drones making it.
I have like a sixth sense, the Peter tingle.
Which he does very easily. But not all of them are shooting, so Beck orders him to fire even though Edith says he might get shot. So he gets shot, and Peter comes over to tell him off, but his Peter tingle is on full alert, and he stops an invisible Quentin from shooting him. He takes the glasses back from Beck, and sends the drones back home. But Beck was really shot, and he dies. Peter even has Edith confirm his death, like Quentin should have.
This certainly isn't ideal.
And isn't it weird that within 2 minutes, Peter was both a target and an authorized user of Edith, without Beck even giving him control back?
Is this real?
If only Tony had a reason to think that some super advanced tech could backfire, putting the whole world in jeopardy, and possibly killing somebody he cares about.
The services are no longer required.
Peter then goes down to the bridge where all the destruction happened, and somehow there isn't a news helicopter, or even some random asshole filming in sight. It's just MJ, who tells him that Happy gave her a broken necklace, but she likes it anyway, and kisses him. Then they tell each other that they like the other one, which should have been obvious with the kissing and the presents.
I thought that you could sense that with your Peter tingle.
But she doesn't mind the blood coming out of his face holes, and they kiss again, and are now a couple. But Ned and Betty broke up, so that's sad. But Happy's been acting really weird around Aunt Mae, and Peter thinks that they're probably secretly dating behind his back. That and MJ probably told him what happened at the tower.
I'm in love with Spider-Man's aunt.
So he wants him to admit it, but Happy thinks that they're together, and Aunt Mae thinks that they're just banging, so Peter leaves to go hang out with MJ. And by that, I mean he takes her swinging through the streets of New York, where anyone could see the two of them, and assume that her boyfriend is Spider-Man.
But if you really like her, you take her to your secret place.
Well, for somebody worried about people finding his identity out, he's not very careful, is he?
No, he's not. But that doesn't matter because when he drops her off, there's a news report that shows Beck saying that he stopped the elemental, but Spider-Man attacked him with an army of drones because he was jealous. And then he outs Peter as Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's name is Peter Parker.
And now everyone thinks he's a terrorist and a murderer.
There you have it, folks. Conclusive proof that Spider-Man was responsible for the brutal murder of Mysterio.
And the news never lies.
It's been a long, dramatic, somewhat confusing road.
So are you guys gonna like and subscribe or what?
Does anyone even have a plan?
Smart. Will do.
Oh, I love Led Zeppelin!
I'm gonna go